God says your breakthrough to endless blessings starts now. Open your heart to the divine promise unfolding in this very moment, because none of this is an accident. You have arrived here right on time, guided by a power that wants to show you what true transformation looks like. Right now, every worry, every anxiety, every question about tomorrow is being covered by a grace that surpasses all human understanding. This is not about luck. It is about a destiny so profound that even the obstacles standing before you must bow to the power of the Almighty. Can you feel that shift in the atmosphere? That is the sound of doors swinging open, of chains falling away, of an old season fading so a new one can begin. Take a second to breathe and acknowledge the presence of something greater than your fears. When you listen closely, you'll sense a divine whisper telling you that everything is about to change. The very struggles that once weighed you down will be transformed into stepping stones for your triumph. God is moving in ways you cannot see, rearranging circumstances, placing the right people on your path, and preparing blessings beyond your current imagination. The universe is echoing this truth. You are standing on the threshold of a major breakthrough. If you have ever doubted your potential or questioned your own worth, let this be the sign you've been waiting for. Now, before we venture deeper, I want you to act in faith. Comment the number 777 below if you're ready to claim this message of endless blessings. By writing 777, you're making a declaration that you won't settle for less than what heaven has prepared for you. You're signaling that your spirit is awake, that you're stepping into the miracles aligned for your life. Also, take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications, because these words of hope and promise are meant to keep you fueled in the days to come. And if you feel that stirring inside, hit that like button as your personal confirmation that you are ready to receive. Step into this truth. There is nothing random about this encounter. You're not watching by chance. You're watching because the Spirit of God is orchestrating a radical shift in your life. You may have endured storms so fierce you wondered if you would ever see sunlight again. People may have doubted you or even dismissed you, but listen closely. Your worth is not defined by the opinions of others. You are meant for more. Every trial was forging resilience within you. Every disappointment was redirecting you closer to your divine purpose. There is a heavenly reason behind every moment you thought was wasted, behind every tear you shed in private. In this new season, God is unveiling the glory that has been hidden in your story all along. Imagine waking up tomorrow to find that the very problems haunting you have become platforms for your greatest victories. The financial struggle that once felt insurmountable suddenly meets an opportunity so fitting it can only be called miraculous. The emotional wounds that weighed you down suddenly lose their power, replaced by healing that only a divine hand can provide. That is the kind of blessing we are talking about. A shift so profound that it leaves you speechless. A breakthrough so unstoppable that no force on earth can contain it. That is what's available right now in this very season. And it doesn't matter where you come from, what you've been through, or how many times you've stumbled. This promise is here for anyone who believes. So let faith arise within you, even if it's just a spark. Feed that spark until it becomes a blazing fire of conviction. Dare to believe that what was impossible yesterday is possible today through the power of God. Scripture reminds us that with faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. You can part seas of difficulty and walk through them unscathed. Close your eyes for a moment and visualize the biggest obstacle in your life. Now see it dissolving under the weight of divine favor. Let that image sink into your heart, because that is the reality waiting for you on the other side of doubt. In this realm of spiritual alignment, it's important to remember that abundance is never merely about material gain. True abundance covers every area of your life. Your health, your relationships, your emotional well-being, your sense of purpose. God does not promise halfway blessings. When He moves in totality, restoring what was lost and increasing what you already have. Picture a river that never runs dry, continually supplied from a heavenly source. Picture Miro. That is the type of overflow being released into your life. Where others might scramble for scraps, you will find yourself thriving, not because of your own strength, but because you are tapping into a limitless reservoir of grace. And yes, there will be voices of skepticism. People might look at you and wonder, why are you so confident all of a sudden? Or how can you believe in blessings when everything around you looks bleak? But that is the exact moment to stand firm. This journey isn't about pleasing the crowd or adhering to worldly logic. It is about leaning into divine truths that surpass human understanding. When you anchor yourself in God's promises, you become unshakable. The storms will still rage, but they cannot knock down a soul that knows who holds tomorrow. Remember the story of individuals in the past who faced insurmountable odds yet triumphed. They overcame hatred, persecution, or seemingly impossible tasks because they believed in something bigger than themselves. The same force that carried them through stands ready to carry you. The same Spirit that empowered them to change the world is the Spirit now whispering victory over your life. You too can rise above circumstances that were meant to break you, stepping into a calling that not only benefits you, but inspires countless others. That's right. Your breakthrough isn't merely for your personal gain. It's a ripple effect that can transform your community, your family, your future generations. When God blesses you, the overflow touches everyone around you. Think about how a single light can illuminate an entire room. You are that light, and the world needs you to shine. This is not vanity, it's purpose. There is someone out there who needs your story of triumph to spark their own faith. There is someone out there whose destiny is tied to your testimony. But maybe you've tried before and failed. Maybe you've prayed and didn't see immediate results. Do not let past disappointments choke out your faith in this moment. Delays are not denials. Sometimes the greatest blessings come after a season of waiting, where your character is refined and your perspective is aligned with God's will. The fact that you're still here, still searching, and still open to miracles shows you haven't given up. Let that tenacity become the seed that grows into unshakable faith. Picture the next chapter of your life as a dawn breaking after the longest night. You've walked through darkness long enough to appreciate the brilliance of the sunrise, and here it comes, bright and unstoppable, signaling that your time has come. Opportunities will surface where there seemed to be none. New relationships will form that elevate you to places you never thought you could reach. Healing will flow like a river, washing away guilt, shame, and regret, all because you chose to believe even when believing was hard. Now is the moment to truly stretch your faith. Speak it out loud. I am ready for my breakthrough. I accept the endless blessings meant for me. I declare that every chain of lack, fear, or despair is broken from my life. When you declare it, something shifts in the spiritual atmosphere. You are literally giving heaven permission to act on your behalf. Remember, miracles often happen when our hearts are ready, when we participate in our own transformation by aligning our words and actions with divine truth. There is a reason you've been feeling stirred inside, like something big is about to happen, because it is. The King of Kings is stepping into your situation, and every limitation is about to be erased. The question is, will you embrace it, or will you shrink back? If you sense that you are on the edge of something incredible, let your soul say yes. Let your soul leap with expectation. This is not the hour to doubt yourself. It is the hour to rise up with confidence. Because if God is for you, what could ever stand against you? Whenever you feel your faith wavering, remember, you're not alone. Millions of people have walked a similar path. They started with just a spark of hope, and that spark was fanned into a flame that lit their entire future. You are part of a grand tapestry woven by divine hands, where every thread of your story has significance: the heartbreaks, the triumphs, the lessons learned, the friendships lost and found. They all weave together to form a masterpiece that points to a purpose far greater than random chance. This blessing we speak of doesn't necessarily come in the way you might predict. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a fresh idea, an unexpected person entering your life, or a moment of clarity that brings deep peace. Other times, it shows up as sudden favor, where doors you never even noticed swing wide open. Regardless of the form it takes, rest assured that it is rooted in love. A love that has been pursuing you since the day you were born. When you fully grasp that love, you realize just how powerful you are destined to be, how unstoppable your life's calling truly is. It's easy to get trapped in the cycle of negative thinking. Maybe you look at your bank account, or your relationships, or your current job, and you see lack. But do not let today's temporary condition define your permanent future. This is precisely why faith is so crucial. Faith lifts your eyes beyond the visible circumstances, reminding you that the invisible realm holds more power than what you can see. God specializes in turning not enough into more than enough, in turning curses into blessings, in turning sorrow into joy. As you move forward, you will find that you carry a new boldness in your spirit. People around you may wonder what changed. They might see a glow on your face or a conviction in your voice that wasn't there before. That is what happens when you catch a glimpse of heaven's plan for your life. There's a kind of holy confidence that settles in, not born of pride, but of the realization that you're partnered with the creator of the universe. At that point, obstacles cease to be threats. They become opportunities to display the power and faithfulness of the one who is guiding you. So keep your heart open and your mind attuned. Each day look for signs of God's favor, no matter how small. Celebrate them. Give thanks for them. Gratitude is a magnet for more blessings. When you operate in gratitude, you align yourself with the frequency of abundance. Instead of seeing your glass as half empty, you rejoice that it's half empty, and you trust that it's about to overflow. This attitude not only uplifts your spirit, but also draws in more of what you're grateful for. If you've been struggling with feelings of unworthiness, lay them down right now. No past mistake is too big to be forgiven. No past failure is too heavy to be redeemed. The old labels don't stick to you anymore. You have a new identity as someone who is stepping into a perpetual season of blessing. When memories of failure come knocking, remind them that you are no longer living in that place of defeat. You've leveled up in faith, and your coordinates now point toward victory. For anyone feeling alone on this journey, know that God's presence is your constant companion. Even in the midnight hour, when doubts creep in and questions flood your mind, He is right there, shining light into the darkest corners of your soul. That same presence is what infuses your mundane moments with supernatural potential. It's what turns ordinary interactions into divine appointments. Sometimes all you need to do is quiet your racing thoughts, breathe, and acknowledge that you are not walking through life unsupported. Dare to believe that every promise written in the Holy Scriptures about blessing, favor, and prosperity can become your reality. Dare to envision a life so fulfilled that people can't help but be inspired by your journey. And when they ask you how this dramatic change came about, you will be able to say, "It was God. I surrendered, I believed, and He showed up." This is not about building your ego, it's about magnifying the source of your transformation. When you point people to that source, you become a conduit for more miracles to flow. Yes, there will be challenges. Yes, there will be moments when fear tries to talk you out of your destiny. But each time you confront a challenge with faith, you grow stronger, you climb higher, and you gain spiritual authority. Eventually, your spirit will recognize challenges as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. You'll see them as divine setups for supernatural comebacks. And when that perspective becomes second nature, you become unstoppable in your pursuit of a life that honors the gift of breath and purpose you've been granted. Please take another moment to comment 777 if you haven't done so already, affirming this unstoppable shift in your life. Let it be your digital shout of "Yes, I am ready." Let it be the public testimony that you are standing on the verge of something extraordinary. Then share this message with someone who needs a spark of hope. Your act of sharing might be the catalyst that propels someone else into their own season of blessing. And remember, if you're truly resonating with these words, subscribe and stay connected. You never know what message might come next that could be the very key to unlocking another door of favor. Try not to overthink the process. Sometimes the most profound miracles happen in the simplest ways. A single phone call, a chance meeting, a shift in mindset. These can become the hinges on which massive doors of opportunity swing. Keep your eyes open, not just physically but also spiritually. Learn to sense God's prompting. When you feel that nudge to move, to speak, or to listen, act on it. Trust that you're being guided by a wisdom higher than your own. Even if you've been surrounded by negativity or caught in circles where people don't dare to dream, you can break free. You are not required to carry the limitations of others. You can honor where you came from without letting it define where you're going. If you're the first in your family to step into this level of faith, that makes your testimony even more powerful. You become a trailblazer, showing future generations what is possible when one aligns with divine purpose. One day they might look back and say, because they believed, the entire family lineage changed forever. Feel the momentum building inside you, that inner confirmation that something is indeed shifting. Let that drive you forward when you wake up in the morning. Let it fill your heart with a sense of anticipation as you go about your daily tasks. Let it remind you that your past does not get the final say. The final say belongs to the one who holds all power, all mercy, all possibilities in the palm of his hand. And he is declaring a new chapter over your life, a chapter marked by continuous breakthroughs and indescribable joy. Know that the spiritual realm is cheering you on. The angels rejoice every time a soul steps into alignment with God's plan. Your tears, your prayers, your moments of wrestling with faith have not been in vain. They have been seeds, planted in fertile ground, now ready to sprout and bear fruit. The harvest is here, and it is bountiful. Prepare your heart to receive it. Prepare your mind to handle it wisely. Because blessings can be a responsibility, one that you are ready for once you've passed through the fires of refinement. There is no coincidence in the timing of this message. All of heaven is leaning in, watching, hoping you will take this divine invitation seriously. Will you rise to the occasion? Will you cast aside the limitations of what once was and step boldly into what can be? Every cell in your body is vibrating with the potential for a miracle. Every beat of your heart is a reminder that you are alive for such a time as this. Do not shrink back. Do not cower in the shadows of fear or regret. Let faith be the banner you carry as you march toward your promised destiny. Remember, you do not have to do this alone. This community of faith is growing day by day, a place where stories of triumph are shared, where testimonies of healing and provision abound. Your voice matters in this collective chorus of hope. Speak life wherever you go. Encourage someone else today. Offer a prayer for someone who's struggling. Sow good seeds through acts of kindness. Every small action ripples through the cosmos, amplifying blessings in directions you can't even see. And keep your spirit open for confirmation. Sometimes God will send confirmation through a stranger's words, a song lyric that resonates, or a sudden sense of peace that envelops you. When that happens, pause and acknowledge it. Say, "Thank you," because gratitude seals the blessing. It's like signing for a divine package that has just arrived at your door. If at any point you feel doubt creeping back in, revisit these words. They are here to remind you of the promise that hovers over your life like a radiant sunrise. Darkness cannot withstand the dawn, and negativity cannot survive where faith flourishes. You are anchored in a power that is older than time itself, a force that authored the stars. So raise your head, square your shoulders, and walk in the authority given to you by the highest power. Just imagine, a few days or weeks from now, you could be looking back at this moment, realizing it was the turning point, that everything changed when you chose to believe, when you refused to let cynicism rob you of your birthright, when you decided that playing small no longer served you or the world. Your future self will thank you for having the courage to stand up and say, "Yes, I'm ready for the overflow of blessings with my name on it." Even your struggles will begin to make sense in hindsight. You'll see how they molded you, how they built character and perseverance. You'll see how certain relationships fell apart so better ones could come together. You'll see how closed doors were simply redirections to something better. That's the beauty of faith. It transforms your entire perspective, turning what used to feel like a curse into evidence of divine guidance. Let this be the hour you say yes to yourself, yes to your Creator, yes to the unstoppable outpouring of favor. Your days of merely hoping for a better tomorrow are ending, and the days of walking confidently in that better tomorrow are beginning. But it starts with a decision, a posture of the heart that says, "I'm all in." If that resonates, then speak it aloud, declare it into the air, let the heavens record your words, and let the spiritual realm align accordingly. You are on holy ground, standing in a space where miracles are not just possible, but inevitable. Close your eyes for a moment and feel that reality settling in. Every fiber of your being is awakening to the magnitude of what lies ahead. It's more than a feeling, it's a truth that can shift the natural world around you. Mountains move, seas part, and destiny unfolds when faith stirs in the human heart. Right now, the seeds of greatness are being watered. Every declaration you make in faith is like pouring life-giving water on those seeds. In time, you will see the fruition in ways that exceed your wildest dreams. Financial breakthroughs that alter the course of your family's future. Emotional breakthroughs that free you from crippling anxieties. Spiritual breakthroughs that grant you peace beyond understanding. This is the layered blessing God is placing before you. Look at your life as a canvas and realize that the great artist is brushing bold, beautiful strokes of color across it. The edges that once looked messy or incomplete are forming a mosaic so vivid that even the darkest shades add depth to the overall picture. You are not a random creation, you are a masterpiece in progress. And every brushstroke of challenge or triumph contributes to the final work of art. Can you sense how the air seems different now? It's charged with expectation because the words you're absorbing carry power. This is not a superficial pep talk. It's a spiritual download that can reframe your entire existence. Embrace it. Feel it settling into the core of who you are, dismantling every lie that you ever told you you're not enough, that you can't break free, that you won't succeed. Let yourself dream again. Let yourself imagine the life you've secretly longed for but were too scared to articulate. Now is the time to bring that vision into focus. As you hold it in your heart, pair it with unwavering faith. That combination, vision plus faith, can move God's hand in extraordinary ways. Each step you take toward that vision will be guided, and each barrier you face will be an invitation to grow stronger. Even if you feel like you're taking baby steps, remember that progress is still progress. Celebrate each forward movement. When you celebrate small wins, You're signaling to your mind and spirit that you are indeed moving in the right direction. Over time, small wins add up to monumental triumphs, and once you taste victory, it becomes easier and easier to believe for even bigger miracles. Keep your eyes on the promises, not the problems. Yes, be aware of the realities around you, but let the assurance of divine favor overshadow them. Problems are temporary. Promises are eternal. Feed your spirit daily with reminders of who you are and whose you are. Guard your mind against negativity. Surround yourself with those who uplift you, who see the good in you, who speak life into your dreams. If you're feeling a sense of warmth, a tingling, or just a deep certainty that something beyond words is occurring, trust that feeling. That's the Spirit moving, confirming that you are meant to receive and walk in these blessings. It's not a coincidence. It's a divine appointment set in motion long before you realized it. Let me encourage you one more time to comment 777, affirming this unstoppable wave of blessing, and to share this message or subscribe if you haven't. When you do so, you're not merely interacting with content, you're solidifying a pact with your own destiny, showing you're serious about stepping into the new. You're making an outward sign of an inward commitment. Change is here. Miracles are not just stories in ancient texts. They are living realities that still unfold in modern times. You stand as a recipient of that possibility, a vessel through which the impossible becomes possible. The swirl of negativity in the world cannot overpower an individual who has aligned themselves with divine truth. Light always overcomes darkness, no matter how dense that darkness appears. Stay expectant, stay hopeful. This is your life's turning point, the place where you trade sorrow for joy, lack for abundance, fear for confidence. It's as if the windows of heaven are opening right before you, releasing a downpour of blessings that will soak every corner of your life. Will you let your heart be open enough to receive? Will you dare to trust, even when the world says trust is foolish? Keep going, keep hoping, keep believing, keep pressing forward with a heart that refuses to quit. Know that every time you choose faith over doubt, you're adding to the momentum that will carry you straight into your breakthrough. Feel that power building within you. Feel it pulsing through your decisions, your relationships, your ambitions. You were created for a time such as this, and the universe is eager to see you rise. Let your heart stay open to the currents of grace still flowing through this moment. As you inhale, sense the divine oxygen filling not only your lungs, but your spirit with renewed vigor. There are days when it feels like the weight of the entire world rests on your shoulders. But this is the season where burdens transform into blessings. Listen closely, and you will perceive the quiet voice telling you that yes, even the mountains looming before you will be leveled, and the oceans of difficulty will part. Sometimes it only takes a single encounter with faith to realize that the impossible was just waiting for your acknowledgement. Give yourself permission to embrace this possibility fully, to see the extraordinary shining right behind the ordinary. You may have awakened this morning to the same responsibilities, the same routine, but there is a shift happening underneath what is visible. These are not empty words, they are spiritual truths that light up your path the moment you decide to take them to heart. It is like stepping into a deeper current of a mighty river. Once you're in, you're carried forward by a force much greater than your own strength. And that's exactly what God wants you to experience. A reality that isn't confined to what your natural eyes see. Feel that surge of spiritual confidence, as if a gentle but powerful wind is at your back, guiding you in every step. Often we are so accustomed to fighting headwinds and obstacles that when grace comes to propel us forward, we second-guess it. We think, it can't be this easy, I'm used to struggle. Yet divine favor knows no bounds. It can bypass the rules of time, logic, and probability, placing you in the exact place you need to be at the perfect moment. The same hand that shaped the galaxies can reconfigure your circumstances in an instant, bending reality in your favor. Let your mind wander for a moment into a future that surpasses your previous expectations. What do you see? Opportunities that once eluded you, finances that once ran dry, relationships that once seemed broken beyond repair. All of them renewed, replenished, and resuscitated by a love far greater than human comprehension. When you walk in alignment with that love, impossible doors open wide, and not only do they open, they usher you into chambers of abundance you've only dreamt about, leaving you in awe of how effortlessly it all can happen when you stand in grace rather than struggle. At times it can feel as though the years have stolen your childlike wonder, that day-to-day concerns have dulled the sparkle in your eyes. Yet the Spirit is calling forth that wonder again. Imagine a vast sunlit horizon filled with color and life, your heart skipping with the excitement of newness. That horizon is not a far-off dream. It is an open invitation waiting for you to step beyond the boundary of what you once remember, that childlike sense of adventure you used to have, when the world was big and every corner held a secret waiting to be found. Let that part of you reawaken, because there is magic in that openness, a magic that faith magnifies 1,000-fold. You might look around and think, but you don't know my situation. You don't see these bills, these challenges, these heartbreaks. True, we each carry our own burdens. But do you realize what can happen when you release them to a power far above your own? The very obstacles you name can become testimonies of provision. The very heartbreaks can become catalysts for deep empathy, fueling your purpose to bring comfort to others. Don't ever underestimate the alchemy of grace. It turns bitterness into sweetness, despair into hope, drought into a downpour of blessings. And it can happen much faster than your mind expects. One phone call, one email, one chance meeting can become the turning point that redefines your whole trajectory. Reflect on the story of Joseph in the scriptures. Betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and unjustly imprisoned. And yet, in due time, he was positioned to save an entire nation, and indeed his own family, from famine. During those dark moments, Joseph might have wondered if God had forgotten him entirely. But the truth was that all those winding roads were guiding him to a place of unimaginable influence and blessing. The same principle applies to your life. The detours, the heartbreak, the waiting periods, they're not random. They're forging the steel in your character, cultivating the wisdom and humility you'll need to handle the magnitude of the blessings coming your way. Hold on to that vision of what life looks like when miracles become the norm rather than the exception. Step by step, day by day, you're invited to expect the extraordinary. And expectation is not just wishful thinking, it's the spiritual posture of readiness. When you truly expect something, you start preparing for it, making room for it in your schedule and in your heart. So go ahead, make room in your heart for the new job, the restored relationship, the major breakthrough. Declutter the emotional baggage that's been crowding your inner space. This act of preparation is itself an act of faith, signaling that you believe in the manifestation of what you're hoping for. If you have a minute, consider the power of your words in this process. Words carry creative force. When you consistently speak negativity or doubt, you're strengthening the very barriers you wish to see torn down. But when you speak life, when you proclaim that goodness and mercy shall follow you, that you are the head and not the tail, you align your perspective with truth. The world might call it self-talk, but spiritually, it is so much more. It's a form of co-creation with the divine. Each time you affirm the blessings you're stepping into, you're watering the seeds of your destiny with faith. Notice the subtle changes happening even now. Your heartbeat might feel a little stronger, your chest a bit lighter, your spirit a touch more peaceful. That's the effect of tapping into this realm of limitless possibility. You begin to see the difference between external chaos and internal calm. You realize you can carry a sanctuary of peace within you, no matter what storms rage outside. This is not escapism, it is empowerment. When your spirit is anchored in divine truth, you become the eye of the hurricane, the still point around which tumultuous winds swirl, but which remains unmoved. Focus on that stillness for a moment. Breathe deeply, tune out the noise. In that place of internal quiet, you can sense the gentle whisper guiding your next steps. Like a compass pointed toward true north, your spirit will nudge you in the direction that harmonizes with your highest calling. This is why it's crucial to cultivate silence and solitude, even if just for a few minutes each day. The modern world bombards you with endless stimulation, but in the quiet, God's voice rises above the din, offering clarity that is pure, undiluted, and life-giving. Sometimes the most miraculous blessings aren't loud or flashy, they are soft revelations that change everything. A sudden realization that frees you from years of guilt, an unexpected moment of compassion for someone you once resented, a gentle conviction that it's time to pursue that long-buried dream. These subtle shifts can be the beginning of a tidal wave of breakthrough. Don't discount them simply because they don't come with thunder or lightning. The Spirit can move like a whisper, yet accomplish mountains of work in the human heart. Envision your heart as fertile soil, ready to receive every seed of blessing that heaven is sowing. In that soil, seeds of promise are taking root, seeds of courage, seeds of resilience, seeds of fresh vision. For a seed to grow, it must be nourished and protected. In the same way, guard your heart from cynicism and negativity. Surround yourself with words, music, and people that feed your faith rather than starve it. Water those seeds daily with hopeful expectation. And just as any good farmer knows, you might not see the fruit overnight, but the growth is inevitable if the seed is good and the soil is healthy. Think of how nature itself proclaims a message of renewal. After every winter comes a spring, no matter how bleak the cold months have been. Flowers bloom, birds sing, and the entire landscape transforms in what seems like an instant. The same cyclical renewal is woven into the human experience. There might have been a winter season in your life, long, barren, and bitter, but it cannot last forever. Spring is programmed into creation. It's also programmed into your destiny. So let the warmth of this promise begin to melt away the frost of discouragement. Let's address the mind that might be wrestling with logic, that's thinking, this all sounds nice, but how do I trust what I can't see? Faith, in essence, is being certain of what we hope for and sure of what we do not see. Think about electricity. You don't see it flowing through the wires, but you trust that flipping the switch will illuminate your surroundings. The same principle applies here. You don't have to see exactly how the blessings will manifest. You just have to flip the switch of faith, trusting that a power beyond your own is at work. Keep in mind that part of spiritual maturity is learning to find peace and joy even while you wait. The gestation period of your miracles doesn't have to be fraught with anxiety. Instead, it can be a sacred time of preparation, where you position yourself mentally, emotionally, and practically for the influx of good that's on the way. Relish this moment of becoming, for once the blessings arrive, you'll be thankful you laid a strong foundation to receive them. It's like preparing for a guest of honor. You don't wait until the last minute to tidy up. You start early, and you do it thoroughly, because you anticipate a joyous arrival. During this process, don't be surprised if your circle of friends or acquaintances shifts. Some people won't understand the new you, the one who refuses to settle for mediocrity and fear-based living. That's okay. Sometimes Outgrowing your environment is a natural step in stepping into your destiny. Cherish the lessons learned from those relationships, but don't allow old patterns to chain you to a place you no longer inhabit. As you ascend, you'll meet others on that same path of growth. Together you can spur one another on to even greater heights, creating a community that's unstoppable in its pursuit of divine purpose. Every day is a fresh canvas, a reset button from heaven, an opportunity to align more deeply with the calling that resonates in the deepest chambers of your heart. It's easy to dismiss a new sunrise as just another day, but in the spiritual realm, new mornings are loaded with potential. They whisper, "Here is another chance to discover the magnitude of who you are meant to be." So when you rise each day, greet it not with dread, but with expectancy. Look in the mirror and dare to say, "I am part of a bigger story, and today I choose to live like I believe it." If you sense a prompting to step out in faith, a new business venture, a creative project, an act of forgiveness, do it. Even small steps of obedience can catalyze huge breakthroughs. Sometimes the simplest yes to a divine nudge can redirect the entire course of your life. Like a pebble dropped into water, the ripples extend far beyond the initial point of contact. That's exactly how these seemingly small acts of obedience work. They set off a chain reaction in the spiritual atmosphere that can lead to results far exceeding your initial investment of effort. Also, recognize the role gratitude plays in this unfolding drama of blessings. Gratitude is like a master key, unlocking gates that seemed immovable. When you choose thankfulness in the face of uncertainty, you're essentially saying, "I trust that goodness is being orchestrated for me." That trust invites more of the same. It's not just a psychological trick, it's a spiritual law. Words of gratitude carry a vibration that aligns you with the frequency of abundance. Suddenly you find doors opening, connections forming, resources materializing, all because you tuned your heart to the station of thankfulness. Don't let the memory of past disappointments speak louder than the promises of God. Yes, we all have scars, regrets, or moments when we felt let down. But remember, a scar is evidence of healing, not a sign of defeat. It shows you survived, it shows you came through. That means you possess more resilience than you give yourself credit for. If you made it through previous hardships, you can absolutely rise above current ones, especially now that you're more grounded in truth. You are not defined by your losses, but by your comeback. How beautiful it is to realize that your life can become a tapestry of redemption, where the darkest threads accentuate the brilliance of the lighter ones. Through every valley, you gather depth. On every mountaintop, you catch a fresh vision. It all merges into a panoramic testimony of grace upon grace. If you share that testimony, even in small ways, you'd be amazed how it can ignite hope in someone else. Perhaps there's a person out there one heartbreak away from giving up, who just needs to hear how you overcame your season of despair. That's how your breakthrough multiplies, by sparking breakthroughs in others. Inhale once more, letting your chest expand with the fullness of possibility. Taste the sweetness of hope and let it saturate every cell of your being. No matter how many times life may have tried to tell you otherwise, you are deserving of good things. You are worthy of love, success, creativity, and peace. Don't buy into the lie that your portion is lack or scarcity. The same God who paints sunsets and births new stars is more than able to decorate your life with wonders you've yet to discover. So let your heart remain pliable, ready to receive revelations that blow your mind. These revelations often come in waves, each wave carrying a different aspect of the blessing. One wave might bring clarity on a dream you set aside long ago. Another wave might usher in financial increase. Another might heal a rift in a key relationship. And as each wave comes, it lifts you higher, broadening your perspective of what's attainable. So don't be afraid of the rising tide. It is not there to drown you, but but to elevate you to a realm you never thought you'd inhabit. Ride these waves with courage, letting them carry you closer to the shores of your divine purpose. Maintain the posture of a warrior of faith, but a peaceful warrior. One who doesn't need to force or strive, but simply stands rooted in conviction. Sometimes, spiritual warfare is less about shouting at the darkness and more about remaining unshakable when the darkness tries to intimidate you. Every time you refuse to relinquish hope, you rob fear of its power. Each moment you hold on to joy despite sorrow swirling around you, you declare victory over despair. You are writing a silent but potent testimony that says, "There is a power in me greater than any threat outside me." Keep feeding your soul with uplifting content, whether it be scripture, motivational talks, or simply conversations with people who carry a positive spirit. It's like fueling a lamp in a world that can sometimes feel dark. That lamp, once brightly lit, becomes not just a source of illumination for you, but for everyone who encounters you. You start to radiate something that logic can't quite define, but which hearts recognize as authentic and transformative. And that's when you know you've tapped into your true calling, when your life begins to light the path for others as well. Sometimes you'll be surprised by the people who come out of nowhere to help you. Angels in disguise, or maybe long-lost friends who suddenly reappear with precisely what you need. When this happens, don't chalk it up to coincidence. Understand that God orchestrates connections in perfect harmony when you're in alignment with your purpose. It could be someone who offers you a piece of advice, a job lead, or even a much-needed hug at the right moment. Each encounter is a puzzle piece that fits into the grand picture of your breakthrough. As you continue along this journey, be patient with yourself. Transformation doesn't always happen in one dramatic burst. Sometimes it's gradual, like watching a flower bloom petal by petal. But every day you are getting closer to the unveiling of something remarkable. Even your setbacks can serve as fuel, as they push you to delve deeper into the faith that's blossoming within. When you occasionally stumble, view it as a stepping stone rather than a pit. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? How can this propel me further, rather than hold me back? Let humility be your ally. Recognize that as amazing as you are, you still need the guiding hand of a wisdom bigger than your own. Humility doesn't mean you think less of yourself. It means you think of yourself less often and keep your focus on the grand tapestry that's being woven. It's acknowledging that your perspective, while unique and precious, is just one thread in a universal masterpiece. This humility keeps you teachable, moldable, and receptive to the quiet whispers of divine instruction. Remain alert for the subtle confirmations that pop up in everyday life. Perhaps a song lyric resonates in a way that feels tailor-made for you. Maybe a stranger's casual remark pierces your heart with clarity, or a random billboard slogan you see while stuck in traffic suddenly speaks volumes about your next move. God's language is not limited to cathedrals and worship services. The entire world can become a sanctuary where you receive messages if only you're willing to notice. Embrace that sense of holy curiosity, and you will find that nothing is ordinary anymore. In those times when your confidence wavers, remember how far you've already come. Reflect on moments of synchronicity, on prayers that were unexpectedly answered, on times you felt cornered but found a way out. Those instances were not flukes. They were signposts, milestones reminding you that grace has carried you before and will carry you again. Document these milestones in a journal or on your phone so you can revisit them during moments of doubt. They become anchors for your faith, tangible evidence that the same God who worked in your past is faithfully working in your present and future. The more you train yourself to see through spiritual eyes rather than just physical ones, the more you realize that nothing is truly random. The same orchestrating force that balances the planets in their orbits can balance the complexities of your personal life. At times, it may seem like chaos, but often chaos is just the precursor to a new order, a more refined, purposeful arrangement of circumstances. Surrender to that process. The willingness to let go of your agenda can often make room for something infinitely better to unfold. And if you find your emotions swinging from elation one day to discouragement the next, be gentle with yourself. Emotional waves are natural, especially when you're aligning with such a profound shift. Let your spirit be the steadying factor. Emotions are like weather patterns, always changing, but your spirit can be like the mountain, stable, deeply rooted, and majestic, regardless of passing storms. Ground yourself in daily reminders of who you really are, a precious soul, loved beyond measure, destined for a life that overflows with grace. When you lay your head down at night, revisit the day in your mind, focusing on the quiet miracles, the small wins, the subtle ways you were guided. Let that sense of gratitude lull you into restful sleep. Even during the night, your spirit can soak in revelations and insights, preparing you for the next sunrise. You might awaken with a fresh idea, a sense of clarity, or a renewed conviction that defies all logic. Trust that nighttime can be a sacred space for refueling your mind and heart. As you continue, you'll notice the atmosphere around you begin to change. There's a peace that settles into your relationships, a sense of cooperation that wasn't there before. Even in tension-filled environments, you become a diffuser of stress, a source of calm. It's not because you suddenly have all the answers, but because your inner posture exudes confidence in a higher plan. And people pick up on that. They might not articulate it, but they feel safer, more hopeful simply by being around you. That's the ripple effect of living in alignment with divine truth. This journey you're on is not just for your own fulfillment. It's an invitation to participate in something bigger. By stepping into your blessings, you become a conduit for those blessings to flow to others. Imagine an entire community waking up to their potential because one person, yes, you, dared to believe. Picture families being restored, dreams rekindled, and neighborhoods blossoming in unity, all sparked by your example of unwavering faith. This is how revival starts, with a single heart on fire, igniting others until the entire landscape is ablaze with hope. You may recall all the twists and turns life has taken you on, sudden changes, disappointments, and perhaps even unexpected triumphs. These experiences, whether painful or joyous, have been your teachers, each one whispering lessons of resilience, compassion, and growth. Now imagine placing every shard of these lessons into a mosaic, assembling a breathtaking picture that captures your essence, the essence of someone who has walked through the fires of adversity and emerged refined, not ruined. This is where you stand, on the brink of a destiny that belongs only to those who refuse to give up. Think back to the very first spark of hope you felt when you started listening to messages like these. Perhaps you were skeptical, or maybe you embraced them wholeheartedly right from the start. In either case, you are here now, proof that that spark of hope never truly died. It might have dwindled to an ember, but embers have a remarkable capacity to ignite into roaring flames when fed the right fuel. And that fuel has been this ongoing infusion of faith-filled words and divine promises, reminding you that you were never forsaken, never overlooked, never left behind. In one sense, the entire cosmos has been cheering you on. The rising sun each morning has acted as nature's trumpet, announcing another chance to rewrite your narrative. The moon at night has served as a beacon, illuminating the shadows to remind you that even in darkness there is always some measure of light. You've woven these cosmic reminders into the fibers of your being, learning to sense that your story is part of a grand universal narrative. When you catch a glimpse of this bigger picture, you realize how precious each moment is. A stepping stone in a path designed just for you. Even as we talk about blessings and breakthroughs, it's important to understand that these are not simply external events. True transformation starts within, from a profound shift in perspective and attitude. Blessings often manifest in the external world, yes, but they take root in the inner soil of faith and readiness. So, if your heart has softened, if your mind has opened, if you've dared to dream again, then you've already begun receiving the greatest blessing of all, a rebirth of the soul. The outer miracles you'll witness in the days to come will merely echo the miracle already happening within. Now, as this video draws to a close, let us not shy away from the call to action. It's not a mere ritual to leave a comment, to subscribe, or to share this message. It's a spiritual exercise. When you comment 777, you're not just typing numbers on a screen. You are declaring agreement with heaven's plan for your life, a plan brimming with abundance and fulfillment. When you subscribe or share, you are extending the circle of faith, helping another soul find the very words that could catalyze their next breakthrough. Think of it as a ripple in water, expanding outward, touching shores you may never see in person. Perhaps you wonder, what if I still have doubts? What if I haven't fully conquered my fears? My friend, doubts do not disqualify you. They merely highlight your need for faith. Faith was never meant to be a flawless garment. It's a tapestry threaded with questions, tears, and, ultimately, trust. It's the willingness to keep walking forward even when the path is dimly lit. Indeed, doubt is not the absence of faith. It's the crucible in which faith is tested, stretched, and proven genuine. So let the questions come. Let them refine your convictions rather than crush them. Picture your dreams as seeds planted in the fertile ground of your heart. Each moment of encouragement, each word of hope, each act of stepping out in courage has watered these seeds, coaxing them to sprout and push through the soil. Before you know it, buds of potential unfold into lush blossoms of reality. How long does it take? That timeline is in the hands of a power that transcends human limitations. But your role is to keep tending these seeds, to guard them against the weeds of negativity, and to stand watch over them like a faithful gardener. All around the world there are hearts beating with the same hunger for something more love, more meaning, more wholeness. Imagine if we all awakened to our own potential, recognizing that this world can be a symphony of kindness and miracles if we simply align ourselves with the divine composition. When you tap into that higher frequency of existence, you essentially become a living note in a cosmic orchestra, each life playing its unique tune. And that tune has the power to shatter the monotony of despair, opening a gateway to an unfolding masterpiece of redemption and renewal. Let's talk for a moment about grace, that unmerited favor that defies logic. Grace can take the shape of second chances, forgiving those who hurt you, or even forgiving yourself. It's the sunlight that breaks through stormy clouds, shining on fields you once thought too barren to ever yield fruit. When grace appears, it has a way of dissolving regrets and bathing your soul in acceptance. And acceptance is not resignation, it's the soil in which self-love and compassion for others grow. If you've been holding onto guilt or shame like anchors tied to your feet, grace is the force that severs those ropes, freeing you to rise, to dance, to live fully again. Remember, life isn't a contest to see who can gather the most blessings. The real victory is in learning how to steward what you've been given. Whether it's your talents, relationships, resources, or time, stewardship is about honoring the gifts bestowed upon you. So when an unexpected opportunity drops into your life, treat it with reverence, nurture it, multiply it, share the overflow. That's when blessings truly become unstoppable. They move through you like a conduit, reaching others in need. And as you bless others, you'll find blessings returning to you exponentially, forming a loop of divine reciprocity that never runs dry. You might be asking, but what if I fail again? What if I take a leap of faith and fall flat on my face? Then you get up, you gather the lessons, you adjust your strategy. You fall forward, not backward, each failure becoming a rung on the ladder to your highest calling. Failure isn't a final verdict, it's feedback. It's data points telling you how to refine your approach. A life without failure is a life without risk, and a life without risk is a life unlived. So take that risk, trusting that no matter the outcome, you are still wrapped in a love that refuses to let you go. As we draw closer to the end, sense how your spirit is being stirred to see beyond your immediate circumstances. Maybe you're in a difficult job, but you have a skill set that could flourish in a different arena. Maybe you're single and longing for companionship, or in a relationship that feels stagnant, but there's a path to deeper connection waiting on the other side of vulnerability. Whatever your specifics, the principle remains: your life can change dramatically when you shift your beliefs about what's possible. Potential doesn't run on your past or present situations. It's fueled by your readiness to believe for more.